Good morning. The July 19th meeting of the Board of Estimate is now called to order. In the interest of promoting the efficiencies of these hearings, persons who are disruptive to the hearing will be asked to leave the hearing room immediately. Meetings of the Board of Estimate are open to the public for the duration of the meeting. The hearing room must be vacated at the conclusion of the meeting. Failure to comply may result in the charge of trespassing. Madam Deputy Controller, are there any corrections, additions, or deferrals on the agenda?
Good morning. For today's meeting, the board received a protest for pages 50 to 51, items 1 and 2, from Alexander and Cleaver on behalf of Alan Myers, MD, Inc. That item, page 50 to 51, items 1 and 2, will move to the non-routine agenda. For page 53 to 54, item number 5, a supplemental protest was received from the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative. That item, page 53 to 54, number 5, is already on the non-routine agenda. In the absence of the Honorable Mayor Pugh, Mr. Peter Hammond will sit and act on her behalf today. I have the following abstentions to note. There are no abstentions on behalf of the Honorable Mayor Pugh. The Honorable President Young will abstain on pages 107 to 108, items 1 and 2. The Honorable Comptroller Pratt will abstain on page 78 and page 108, item number 3. Mr. President, members of the board, those are the protests received as well as the items that are on the non-routine. And those items on the non-routine agenda are pages 50 to 51, items 1 and 2, and page 53 to 54, item number 5. Thank you.
Thank you. I would direct the board members' attention to the memorandum from my office dated July the 17th, 2017, identifying matters to be considered as routine agenda items together with any corrections and additions that have been noted by the Deputy Controller. What's wrong?
No, I didn't need any water.
I will entertain a motion to approve all of the items contained on the routine agenda.
I move the approval of the items on the routine agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carried. The routine agenda has been adopted. The first item on the non-routine agenda can be found on pages 50 to 51. Items 1 to 2, Department of Public Works, recommendation for contract awards, rejection, WC 1211, Ashburton Reservoir Zone, 2 tanks. Will the party please come forward?
Oh, she getting used to it.
That don't give me no good.
Oh, she going to get it anyway.
Okay, state your name.
Good morning. I'm Jay Price. I'm the Acting Bureau Head of Water and Wastewater for Department of Public Works. It's our recommendation that we move forward with award of water contract number 1211 to Oscar Renta.
Good morning. Lorenzo Bellamy on behalf of Alexander and Cleaver. I'm also here on behalf of Alan Myers protesting the recommended award.
You're going to tell us what your process is based on?
Mr. President, Mr. Hammond, Controller Pratt, good morning. Members of the board, good morning. I'm Lorenzo Bellamy again with Alexander and Cleaver on behalf of Alan Myers. We are protesting this award for several reasons. Mainly, we believe that the recommended awardee did not meet the good faith tests in order to find qualified and certified MBEs. First, I want to just go through very quickly the dollar figure that's at stake here. This is the bid is $136,964,000. Alan Myers' bid is $137,777,000, a difference of 0.97%. Renda's MBE numbers are 10.1%, WBE 2.92%, or 12.93% total. Alan Myers' WBE is 15.5%, and WBE 3.99%, or 19.4%. In terms of dollar value, it's $10.1 million more for MBE companies than the recommended awardee. I think if we are to look at the policy, Mr. President and members of the board, you all have stated on many occasions, whether it's been before this board, whether it's been before the press, whether it's been in court, that MBE issues are critical and important to to this board and also to the citizens of Baltimore. Had we, Allen Myers, decided to go below what we submitted, then I think we would have obviously won this bid. And I think that, but then at the expense of who? At the expense of MBE, certified Baltimore City MBE companies. And I think that you all have said that you want to support MBE companies in Baltimore City. The Maryland Department of the Environment came up with the recommendation to award this contract to Renda. In their April 4th, 2017 letter, I'm not sure if you have that, and I can provide you with a copy. They basically recommended the award, saying that they were the responsible bidder, but they didn't indicate anywhere in the letter whether or not good faith efforts were made to find MBE companies that at least would come close to the 34% that the goal that was established by the RFP. And so MBE didn't even come up with a rationale as to why, in good faith, they thought Renda should be given this award. The Environmental Protection Agency has what we call, and it's it's part of the attachment to the protest. They call it the six good faith efforts and contract administration requirements. And I'm not going to go through all 6 of them. You can look at that and see what they are. And I would submit that Renda did not meet any of those 6 requirements, but that my client, Allen Myers, has. The argument may be made that Renda went through a checklist and checked off boxes that indicated that they had made good faith efforts, and I would submit that just simply checking off boxes is not necessarily a good faith effort. I have with me, let me see, is Brickhouse here? Yes, sir. You would come up, please, sir. We have two MBEs, one that's here, and state your name for the record, please.
Wilbur Brown, representing Brickhouse Brown Mason.
They're one of the MBEs that's submitted to Renda. Renda chose not to use them, which is in their right to do that. This is a certified MBE company that, and there's a letter attached to my protest that indicates what they tried to do. They are certified, ready and available DBE, MBE, ready to do business. We used them. We had them on our list. And these are, in addition to these 2 companies, these are companies that are based in Baltimore City, that some of them are actually in empowerment zones. So we are supporting the policy that the city of Baltimore has recommended for using MBEs in these type of contracts. And so I hope, Mr. President and members of the board, that you would look at the numbers here. We're talking of a difference of 0.97%. We came in at 27 million for MBE. They came in at 17 million. That's 10.1 million, as I stated before, for MBE companies. And I think that, when you look at the policy behind this, I think it's very important to if this was a significant difference, I could see where you would say, well, what's in the best interest of the city? What's in the best interest of the residents of Baltimore City? And I think best interest, and I've seen this at state level and here in this board, before this board, you have stated on many occasions what is in the best interest and have ruled what is in the best interest of the city, even if there have been discrepancies in price or even in MBE qualifications. And I would say here, the best interest of the city and the best interest of this board, and you represent the citizens of Baltimore, would be to award this to my client, Allen Myers, especially given the MBE requirements and the MBE goals that they've established in this contract. And finally, I would say my recommendation would be that you would reject the recommendation of the Board of Public Works, of the Public Works Department, and that you would award it to Allen Myers. Alternatively, we'd ask that you throw out the bid completely and redo this, paying careful attention to the good faith efforts of all the bidders, let's say, but specifically Allen Myers and perhaps even Renda, on MBE qualifications and MBE spend. With that, I turn it over to Nunzio, if you have anything you want to add.
Good morning, members. My name is Nunzio Ruggieri. I'm General Counsel for Allen Myers. Rich is the Executive Vice President of Construction at Allen Myers. We've had the opportunity to be part of the City of Baltimore for a significant period of time. Rich, in particular, has been here since roughly 2002. We've had many occasions where we've seen this board make decisions that are in the best interest of the city. Here's one of those situations for you. You have an opportunity to provide an additional $10 million of opportunity to very, very important residents of this community. If you choose our bid, that's what you get. If you don't choose our bid, that $10 million does not materialize. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Even though I don't agree with the whole process, but this is a state issued contract. You guys are still not the lowest bidder. You come in at 138,298,777, and they come in at 136,964.
That's correct. I stated that, Mr. President, that we are, it's 0.097% off.
Right. Okay. Anybody else?
Let me ask you a question. Did the joint venture meet the DBE requirements?
No.
I can't speak to what the joint venture, you said they didn't?
With respect to the requirements, our position is they haven't because of the good faith efforts requirements. So to answer your question specifically, Mr. Young, if the difference in price makes no meaning, it has no difference at this point because we would say that they're not responsive or responsive.
Let me just ask one question, actually two questions, so just to confirm. So you're not the lowest bidder, but your position is you were responsive and they were not responsive. But in the state contract, the state found that they were responsive. Isn't that correct?
That is correct, but I would argue that their rationale for finding that they were responsive was arbitrary and capricious. I think that there was no good faith attempt. There was no rational basis between their number, the MBE search, and the good faith to the actual award.
And Mr. Bellamy, what do you base this arbitrary and capricious decision on?
Excuse me if I might. My name's Rich Dungan. I'm the one that signs the contracts. I've been in the bid room with Alan Myers since 2002, bidding work for the city. This project's going to be worth $138 million. And Renda and Johnson Brothers joint venture committed to 12% minority participation. Alan Myers has 20%.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I do. What is the answer to my question?
The answer is that in the past, the city has never gone ahead with any of these bids with just 12% participation.
No, my question is, what is the basis for your statement that the state's decision was arbitrary and capricious?
Solicitor Ralph, let me try to answer that question for you. So in Natural Resources versus U.S. 966 Federal F2nd 9th Circuit case, 92 case, it stated that the absence of a rational connection, I'm just going to read this, connection between the facts found and the choice made, a clear error of judgment, I would say there was a clear error of judgment with the state, an action not based upon consideration of relevant factors, and so is arbitrary, capricious, an abuse of discretion or otherwise not in accordance with the law, or if it was taken without observance of procedure required by the law. And I would say that on its face, I mean, just looking at our bid and the numbers and who we used, our good faith efforts to try to find qualified WBE and MBE companies versus the other side, I would say on its face, without even having to go in through and I know it's hard to prove arbitrary and capricious, but I would say on its face, based on those numbers alone, that one could make that assumption.
Okay, two things and I'll end. One, I do want to commend Alan Myers for working as hard as it did in trying to get subcontractors for this contract. But just because you were able to do more doesn't mean that the other bidder didn't make good faith efforts to obtain them. You got more, and I commend you on that. But to say that difference, that delta, and the state's decision to find that delta not good faith, and that its decision to do so arbitrary and capricious, I think is a leap, far leap.
If I may, Solicitor, I would say that in a real world and looking at just the law on its face, perhaps you're right. But if you look at the numbers that they actually presented when you go to good faith, the difference between 12.93 and almost 20%, so let's say 13% and 20%, that is a significant gap. If the numbers were closer, I would say yes, then it would be potentially hard to make that argument. But because the gap is so great, and the difference actually in the price, when you look at the price, is 0.97% on a $137 million contract. So I would say yes, sure, they may have met. Actually, the goal was 34%. So I mean, I would argue that you should throw this whole thing out and actually start over again so that we can actually do better. But I would say that when you look at the difference between their number and our number, I would say on its face, and I'll continue to make that argument, that they were not exercising good faith.
I understand.
Anybody else? Any more questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I would move that we deny the protests and award the bid as recommended by Department of Public Works on page 50 to 51, items 1 and 2 of the agenda.
Second.
Wait a minute. This motion is as to the protest.
Yes,
I'll make the
I would.
second motion.
Okay.
Okay, all in
Fine.
favor?
I move that we deny the protests.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carried. The protest is denied. I will now entertain a motion as to the recommendation for award.
I would move that we award the bid as recommended by the Department of Public Works on page 50 to 51, items 1 and 2 of the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Please note Council President Young votes no. The second item on the non-routine agenda can be found on pages 53 to 54. Item number 5, Department of Public Works, recommendation for contract awards rejections. B50004910, lead hazard reduction program. Will the parties please come forward?
Good morning.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning. Erin Sher Smith for Department of Finance, City Purchasing Agent. The Bureau of Purchases recommends a denial of the protest as the protestant was found non-compliant by MBU. However, we have discussed this with the using agency, the Department of Housing, and this is a multiple award with the intention to award to as many responsive vendors as possible. There were 2 bidders that were found responsive yet non-compliant, and we would recommend that the protest be denied. However, both the Board of Estimates allow the Bureau of Purchases to reach out to both non-compliant vendors and allow them to correct their forms and submit to MBU for compliance finding. If they are found compliant at that time, we would return to the Board of Estimates with additional award recommendations so that the Department of Housing has the additional resources for this important program. Thank
So
you.
that means they will become a part of this contract?
Yes, they would be added to this contract.
Added to this, okay?
Correct.
Question, how many contractors can be a part of this?
There is no limit to the number of contractors. 8 bidders submitted bids. 5 are recommended today. 1 was found non-responsive, and 2 were found responsive yet non-compliant.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to be before you. I'm Ruth Ann Norton. I'm the president and CEO of the Great and Healthy Homes Initiative. I'm joined by Larry Brown, who is our crew chief on the lead hazard control program, and Wes Stewart, who's our in-house counsel. Ours is a simple error. We were the lowest responsive bidder for the public bid for lead hazard control, a service that we have provided to the city of Baltimore since 1994. We hire from impacted communities and provide full wage jobs with health insurance benefits, retirement, and other benefits, and including training and career paths. I think we are the only bidder that does that. Our work has been noted by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for our lead hazard control work, and I'll let Larry speak on that. Basically, here we had a MBE subcontractor, New Century, who we missed the fact that they are also a WBE, and they circled WBE. And so when we turned in the forms, I signed an affidavit that we did meet the 27% and 10% requirements because we were counting New Century in the MBE category. By the fact that it was signed or circled WBE that we missed in our review, which is our fault. We came in at 22% MBE and a much higher WBE because they got switched to that category. We do have in our protest bid a letter from New Century as an MBE contractor. If we are given the opportunity for award, we would be using them in the MBE category. I'm happy to answer questions, but I wanted to give Larry an opportunity before the Board of Estimates to talk about the impact that not having this contract would have on our crew.
Before he's the controller.
Yeah. Mr. Billups, could you come up? Could you put on the record the noncompliance for each noncompliant vendor? Why they were noncompliant?
Green Healthy Homes Initiative did not meet I'm sorry.
You can state your name for the
I'm
record.
sorry.
State your name.
Mr. Chair, Madam Comptroller,
State your name.
Courtney Billups, Chief of the Minority Women's Business Opportunity Office. Green Healthy Homes Initiative did not meet the MBE goal. The MBE goal was set at 27%. Their bid was submitted at 22% MBE participation, so therefore we found them non-compliant.
And the other?
And the second.
Abatement and properties.
The WB submitted by A&A Abatement and Property Services, LLC, was TDS Douglas Construction. They're not certified for lead paint abatement with Baltimore City. So therefore, the MB portion was found non-compliant.
Thank you.
Good morning to you all. My name is Larry Brown. I'm actually a crew member. I work for the Lead Hazard Control Team. The position that I have been there 15 years. Started my first 2 years at AmeriCorps, and when I started at AmeriCorps, I was also part of the Lead Hazard Control Team. After my 2 years of completion of AmeriCorps led to employment with working for a Green and Healthy Home. And at the time of my employment, I had no training. So the Green and Healthy Home organization has helped me with training. I contribute to my 403B, earn a nice wage salary, and also one of 5 members who also lives in the community. We love working in the community. I think we have a big impact based on providing the services, and then a lot of the families have questions for us. And then we also can call the coalition, which is the formerly Green and Healthy Home, and provide them with, lawyers, rent court. So not only do I feel our abatement, our lead hazard work is very important, but also how the organization has, in a circle, have other sources to help families. So.
That's good. And nice to see you, Mr. Billups. I want to just reiterate that in my signing of that affidavit on behalf of our organization, so I also own the mistake of our oversight of the circle. But if you count New Century and the MBE category, we well exceed the 27% and still meet the WBE. So I just want to put that on the record, and we're happy to answer any other questions and ask for your consideration.
Well, you said you made a minor mistake.
But we didn't, Council President, our mistake in our review is, although we signed the affidavit at 27% and 10% because we counted New Century in the MBE category, which they are, and we checked this morning, they are a certified MBE and remain so for the city. They are also a WBE. We put them in that category. What the oversight on our part was that they circled WBE on their form. So rightfully, when it got to Mr. Billups' shop, They went solely by the forms submitted by the subcontractors and counted them in the category by which they circled, I think. Is that correct? And so therefore, it shifted the balance. And it's that shift that took us below 27% to 22%. It is a human error that occurred in our review, but they are a certified MBE. We clearly had them in that category, and I would not have signed an affidavit that wasn't correct in how we were proceeding. So,
Okay.
and we obviously enjoy our good working relationship in service to this community, and would like to continue to do so.
Okay, well, it puts us at an awkward position because we have to really depend on the MBU office and the integrity of, the process. I'm one that like to see the city save money, in which you all been in the lowest bidder would have saved us money. However, from listening to Ms. Scher, you all going to be a part of the contract, is that correct?
And be a
Okay.
part of this contract.
Okay.
That is correct. We will come back to the Board of Estimates and recommend additional vendors who have cured, and giving that opportunity to both of the non-compliant vendors. And Housing is here to speak to their need for additional resources if you'd like to hear from them.
Yes.
How soon will you come back before the board?
As soon as possible.
Okay.
As early as next week, if
Okay.
I believe they're going to correct their form today.
Okay, good.
Okay.
State your name.
Alice Kennedy, Deputy Commissioner of Housing for City of Baltimore. The Lead Hazard Control Program is a HUD. We're under a HUD 3-year grant, a year and a half into that process. And I think that the process that's laid forward today, which the agency is in agreement with, allows us to keep moving forward with the contractors and the work that has to be done in a timely manner, while still allowing one of our important partners in this process, and historic important partners, to correct an error and come back and be a part of the contract. The workload is there. It's an open-ended, to answer the solicitor's question, it's an open-ended contract. There's no limit on the number of contractors that we can have, and we have the workload for the contractors to need the additional contractors there.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, I would move that we deny the protest and deny the protest.
So, second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carries. There have been no more business.
Wait a minute. You got to do the award.
Oh. I will entertain the motion for the award. I thought you did it all in one.
Not to. I make a motion that we award the contract as recommended by the Bureau of Purchases on page 54 through 55, item number 5 of the agenda, and that we allow grant the recommendation by the Bureau of Purchases to allow for a cure within 30 days of any additional bidders who have submitted responsive bids on the contract.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carried. There have been no more business before this board. We'll recess until bid opening at 12 noon. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon. There are no bids for today. We do have the following addendum to read. WC 1359, urgent need water infrastructure rehabilitation. Please change the bid due date from July 19th to July 26, 2017. SC 910, improvements to the sanitary sewer collection system in the Herring Run Sewer Shed, Part 2, Chinkapin Run. Please change the bid due date from July 19th to July 26, 2017. B50005026, fuel truck. That's from the Bureau of Purchases. Please change the bid due date from July 19th to August 9th, 2017. Bureau of Purchases B50005066, Inner Harbor Water Safety Improvement. Please change the bid due date from July 19th to August 9th, 2017. Bureau of Purchases B50005072, air sealing and installation for city buildings. Please change the bid due date from July 19th to August 9th, 2017. B50004898, non-emergency medical transportation and Medicaid clients. Please change the bid due date from July 19th to August 9th, 2017. Those are the addenda for today.
Hearing no objection, so ordered.
With that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.